In this video, we're going to take a look at these products produced by Philip Reed and talk a little bit about how they stand apart from what we normally see on the shelves at our local game store. So let's get into this. Welcome to Solitary RPG. I have a very close friend who owns a local game store here in Arizona called Imperial Outpost Gaming. The locals call it IOG. And the other day I was in his shop and he noticed I purchased a Mork Borg product and he didn't know I was into this game. So he took me to his desk and he just started handing me all of this product from Philip Reed. And he just gave it all to me. He said, "Merry Christmas." So a big thank you to my friend Darren for this gift. And I thought we would take a look at it and kind of talk a little bit about how this product stands apart from what we typically see on the shelves at our local game store. Let's first take a look at the 5 pamphlets that I was given. 4 of them are adventures, and we're going to take a brief look at these. I don't want to give away too much. But this 5th one, these are a bunch of unclean scrolls that you can add to your game. So Mork Borg has a limited number of unclean scrolls and clean scrolls for the game. And it's these little supplements just giving a little bit more that you can incorporate into your campaign or your game just to change things up a little bit. This art, though, that is just an amazing piece of art. And I would love to have that made into a t-shirt because that would be fun to wear out in the public just to kind of freak people out. But it is just a really nice little supplement. And that's what's fun about Mork Borg is a lot of third-party content creators are just creating these really quick, simple little pieces of product that don't take up a lot of room on your shelves. They're just pieces of paper. And you can just use them if you want. And they're not really expensive. It's not like another D&D supplement book that's $50. You know, these are relatively inexpensive if you get the PDFs. The print copies can be found. My friend purchased these directly from Philip Reed or whoever is producing his product in support of the content creator. But yeah, that's the first one. More unclean scrolls to add to your game. These 4 adventures, these are really unique adventures that aren't campaign adventures. I don't even think they're kind of one-shot adventures, but they're quick one-shot adventures because your PCs are just trying to resolve a single conflict. These 2, I started to read them, but then I stopped because I was giving away too much information to myself. Because of the dungeons or the room encounters that are in here. I felt I was just giving away too much to myself. But these are just really neat. The Broken Sword of the Vile Souls and the Wizard's Dying Wish. And they're just really short adventures that you can just kind of plop into a campaign as a little side piece. Or if you're doing like maybe a convention and you just want to give people a taste of the gaming system, you could just run one of these because they're kind of short and they're not, PCs probably aren't going to survive. So they're kind of cool. And then these 2, again, same concept, but these are just all encounters that the PCs are going to face. And they're actually kind of neat. This one especially, because if the PCs die, they just come back as the town guards. So it's kind of just an ongoing thing trying to resolve this one encounter. And there's some problem solving with these encounters, these 2, that the GM's going to know and the PCs have to figure out to resolve them. So they're kind of neat. I don't think any of these are really designed for solo play single characters. You're going to have to run a party of characters, and there's some problem solving. And unfortunately, if you read the pamphlets ahead of time, you're going to know how to solve the problem, so it may not work out that good for you. But you can still use content from here and maybe do the aftermath, which is kind of neat. Like there's these aftermath reports here for these 2. And you can kind of maybe use some of the information from there to kick off an adventure. Or you might want to just use these as maybe a rumor in the background if you're doing a solo adventure or your PCs just happens to be there when these encounters take place and they're witnesses to it. You can be pretty creative with it. And then these two are kind of room encounters where you're actually going into a space and you got the rooms listed out and you're kind of resolving what's in the room. Really neat stuff. Really love it. And they're all high quality. The art is fantastic. And yeah, it's just neat stuff. The next product I want to take a look at is the Tome of Skulls. So when I first saw this envelope, I was like, oh, this is unique. And I pulled this out and I was like, what is it? And it was kind of like paper. It was like, it kind of reminded me of an old road map. So I kind of flipped it open, and the way it works is this is the front, and then you kind of pull it open, and then this is your introduction of exactly what it is. And it's really just 6 skeleton encounters that you can put into your game. And it's very large. It just has your 6 skeleton encounters. So there's 4 of them on this page. So they're all kind of color coded. You got the pink one here for the undead messenger. You got the blue one here for the skeleton wizard. And then over here, the crowned skull face, which kind of reminds me of a ring wraith from Lord of the Rings. But I like how the cover is also the art for this particular one. Just, this is very creative, and I really like how this is done. And then you got the Rotheart aggressor, or just the undead shock trooper, skeleton shock trooper. Just gives you some information and their stats and everything. You can just pop these into any of your games. But then when you turn it over, voila, look at that art. I just the fact that the Philip Reed took the time to put this nice piece of art in here, just to really be shocking to the person that purchases it and opens it up. It's just fantastic. I just love it. Anyways, this is called a Hellgate Fiend, or a skeleton skeletal portal, sorry. And then you just have your common skeleton warrior down here at the bottom. But then also, what you get is D10 abilities to customize your skeleton. So not only are you getting what's already listed, but if you want to make them different, you have a D10 chart that you can use. And then over here, what is it doing? So for a few of them, you've got a D6 chart that you can roll on to say what the skeleton is doing at the time. So a lot of great information, but it's just put together. This packaging is just amazing. And this is just really creative because it's like an old road map like you would get at a gas station back in the day, not too long ago, before the internet and cell phones. And I love it. It's just fantastic. Is it practical for game use? Not really. Like, it's kind of unwieldy. I guess you could use it as like a play mat, but I don't care about that. You know, if I was a GM, if I'm going to have these encounters, I'll probably write down the important stats on a 3x5 card, roll them all up and like game prep, and then run with them during the game session. But I just find this packaging to be so much fun and exciting. Now this one, this is a limited one-time print run product called the Tower of Scoundrels, and probably because it has a record in it, and it's a 45, and it's just sounds. It's just the atmosphere sounds, but this is just really awesome. So the whole idea here, it gives you all the information on the back, but we'll call it the record sleeve because that's, there's a record in it that makes this the record sleeve. And this is like taking me back to my childhood of purchasing records, collecting records. And when we'd buy the bigger, thicker records and we'd have all the pullouts and everything, that's exactly what this is. But this becomes your GM screen. So you have a little GM screen. You have all your tower information, your room locations, your encounters. There's 2 books in the side sleeves. First book is just giving you the first couple levels of the tower. So you got level 1. It gives you everything that's in the rooms that you have going on. And then you get into level 2, level 3, and then you're on the roof. And then, yeah, it just gives you a lot of great information for running the adventure. I'm not going to dive too much into the adventure part itself. That is for you to discover if you purchase the products. I know this is available as PDF. Obviously, you don't get the record, but I believe there might be a soundtrack. I don't know. And then you got book 2, which now this takes you into the sub levels. So this is taking you underground, and this is taking you down, and you got encounters and other things going on. So 2 little pamphlets. Again, could this have all been made into one book? Sure, but took the time to make it 2 separate things. You got everything going above ground, everything going underground. They're in 2 different books. And then to top it all off, you get this amazing piece of vinyl. And this is a thick vinyl. So it's not like, back in the day, we would have cheap vinyl when we bought vinyl records, and they were very thin and flimsy records. And you actually, sometimes they would be able to put records into magazines because they'd be in like almost flexible plastic. But this is a very thick piece of vinyl. It's quality vinyl. The only downside for me is I don't own a turntable anymore. Over the years, I got rid of all my vinyl, which I regret in my life. That's one of my very, very few regrets I have, and that's one of them. But I no longer have a turntable, so I'll either have to buy a turntable or see if this is available on a digital format just so I can hear what's on it. I can't afford to start collecting vinyl again. But anyways, yeah, so this is just really creative. And there's a few records, I believe, put out for Mork Borg. Yeah, just cool. And I know Philip Reed has a few other sound files available. But neat stuff, just well packaged. And again, just takes me down the road of nostalgia of collecting records back in high school. I used to get my paycheck and spend it all on vinyl. So good stuff. Now we're going to talk about this book. So when you see this book on the shelf or on a table at a convention, you're kind of immediately drawn to it because of its odd size. It's a little over 11 inches tall, 6.5 inches wide, nothing on the cover. So if this was on the shelf or a table, you wouldn't even know what it is. But you see this amazing piece of art. And then you got the yellow, which Mork Borg is big into that yellow black background art. And this book is just chock full of that yellow black background. Your eyes are just drawn to it. It catches your attention, kind of brings you in, and you're like, what is this? And then the only thing you see is on the side, Callow's Book of Monsters. And that's what this is. It's a book of monsters, but there's a little bit more in it. So I've had the PDF of this for a long time. I've had it printed out, and that's all I could use of it because I could never find a printed copy. I guess recently Philip Reed has started producing this more, and it's making it a little bit more available to consumers. And my friend was able to get copies of it, and that's how I came across this. So let's take a look inside. You're going to start with just plain black end pages on this book, and then you're going to start getting into all that yellow black background art. So it might be a little hard on my camera trying to capture all this color. But you have your table of contents. So what you're going to get, a little introduction to this book. You're going to get a story about the creator of this book. So it's a fictional character that created this book that you can use as a story starter or just some background information for a campaign or an adventure and make this book part of the game itself. Awesome way of using your products. Then you're going to get all your monsters. You got a D66 table of rumors, and then you got Castle Skull Rot, which is kind of a little hex crawl adventure site that you can just plop into any campaign or just do as a one-night adventure and just have some fun with it. Then we come here to the introduction, just some really basic information about Mork Borg being a good GM, how to use this book, how to use the rumor tables, and how to run the hex crawl adventure. Nothing too deep, but good stuff. But then here you got information about the author of this book, which is a fictional character who comes from another world. It's just really cool stuff. And this could just be a good adventure starter for a game that maybe they're out looking for this book and you can actually just use your book as a prompt for your game. Kind of fun stuff, but it just gives you some fictional information, which is just really cool. And then here we can see it's a stitch bound book, so it's going to be a quality book that will last you a long time. But we're going to get into the monsters. So this is the first monster in this book, and I just love this art, this stippling, just all of those dots. I used to do a lot of stippling in high school. It was very therapeutic, where you could just kind of sit there mindlessly tapping your pen or your pencil on a piece of paper, kind of forming an image. But I just really like that art. But you get your encounter. So you're going to get some information about your encounter, your stats. This particular encounter has infinite HP, which means you're not going to kill it. So there's other ways around this encounter. There's other things to do with this encounter. Not all encounters have to be combat, and this is one of those. So just neat stuff. But you just kind of go through this. You're going to have all of these different monsters that your PCs can encounter on a campaign. The art is just awesome. Having this larger book like this just really makes it so much better. Yeah, you can print this stuff out, but there's something about the physical product. I kind of wish that these were made into tarot cards. How cool would that be to have tarot cards with maybe your important information on one side and then just the image on the other side, so that you can use that. I know Philip Reed does a lot of cards, but I don't think I've ever seen these in a card form. I might have to take a deeper look into those. They could have been done as like a one shot or a single printing or something. Might be out there. But yeah, so lots of cool stuff in here, lots of cool monsters that you can just pop into your campaign and just have a lot of fun with them. But some of the encounters are simple, like this gremlin's just an HP 2, morale 5, no armor, claws D2, but there's some special abilities. Same with the bite, D2, but some special abilities. The skull of this creature is worth 1 silver, so if you're going body hunting, you can get some money along the way. Fun stuff. Some of these monsters are going to be bigger and a little bit scarier, and you may not want to find them in a dark place. It's great information how to involve your heroes with it. Some good context about the creature and things like that you can just have fun with. This book isn't new. It's been out for a long time. I'm just kind of flipping through because I got the physical copy, and I haven't seen a lot of reviews on the physical copy. Most people have reviewed the PDF copy. So neat stuff. Look at that art. Just awesome. And then we get into the rumors tables. First of all, I love this spread. I like this like watercolored mess over some actual line art. It's just awesome. But the D66 rumor tables is pretty plain, pretty straightforward. It's just going to be, roll, get your rumor and go. This is really meant for GMs to start an adventure. Can use these for solo play just to get your game started, to give you some sort of context to start working with. And then we're going to get into Castle Skullrot. This is a hex crawl. It's just something you can put into a campaign to give your PCs something to do. Maybe they're journeying across the land, and you just want to give them something to do before they maybe tackle the next big encounter or problem in the next city or wherever they're going. You can just plop this in. It's a very short little space on a map because each hex is only 6 miles, and you got all these different adventure sites that your PCs can go, maybe looking for this book or looking for some of these encounters. Maybe they need some money and they need to go find this shaggy fur from this creature because it's worth 100 silver. So you can do a lot with it, but make the map your own, do your own thing. All this adventure is going to give you is a brief history of the region, and then some information about the different locations, and then everything else is up to you. So it's nice. I like the fact that this is not just a single purpose book. It gives you a little bit more content that you can use this as a side adventure. Then we get to the back of the book, and again, not a lot of information about it. It just says it's compatible with Mork Borg. Another amazing piece of art on the back, and it's just fantastic. I just love how this book is put together. I like everything about it, the oddness of the size, the cover art, and there's just not a lot of text. It's not a lot of marketing. It's very simple, plain, and I just love it, just like all of this product. So that was a look at this product from Philip Reed. And again, a big thank you to my friend Darren at Imperial Outpost Gaming for gifting this to me. I'm so blessed to have friends like this in my life. And thank you for watching and have a great day. Bye.